People, patterns, and protection guard your circle. Let's talk about something that will either build your destiny or break your spirit, your circle, the people you allow into your life, the patterns you tolerate in them, and the protection you give your peace, time, and energy. These are the hidden forces that shape everything. You may think your job is the problem, or your past, or your lack of resources. But truthfully, sometimes your circle is your sabotage. People who you let in, changes who you become. The people around you are either oxygen or poison. They're either planting seeds or draining life. They're either pushing you forward or pulling you under. So let me ask you, who are you giving access to your energy? Who are you allowing to speak into your future? Because proximity is power. If you walk with the wise, you grow. If you sit with the small-minded, you shrink. You don't need hundreds of friends. You need a few real ones who tell the truth, who want the best for you, and who challenge your comfort zone. And listen carefully, not everyone who's around you is for you. Some are just curious, some are envious, some are temporary, and some are distractions wearing the disguise of loyalty. Don't just watch how people act when you lose, watch how they act when you win. That will show you everything, patterns, what you tolerate. You teach it's not just the people, it's the patterns in those relationships. You can't change someone's pattern if they refuse to see it. And you can't keep making excuses for their chaos without it becoming your chaos. Love doesn't require access. Loyalty doesn't mean tolerance of disrespect. And forgiveness does not mean foolishness. You teach people how to treat you by what you allow, what you respond to, and what you continue to accept. So if they always cross the line, it's because you haven't built one. If they drain you every time you talk, it's time to limit the call. If they've shown you their pattern, believe it the first time. This isn't about canceling people, it's about clarity. Clarity creates boundaries. Boundaries create peace. Peace creates focus, protection. Guard what's sacred. Your energy is sacred. Your time is limited. Your peace is non-negotiable. So why give VIP access to people who treat you like a convenience? Why water dead plants? Why shrink yourself to fit into spaces that were never built for your growth? Here's the truth most people avoid. If you don't protect your circle will infect your life. Your dreams will die from doubt. Your confidence will erode from criticism. Your vision will blur from small talk and small minds. So protect it all: your mind, your goals, your peace. Be kind, but be clear. Be open-hearted, but not wide open to everyone. Some people belong in your heart, not in your schedule. You are the average of the inner circle you keep. There's a law of life most ignore. You become the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. If they're disciplined, you'll level up. If they're lazy, you'll fall behind. If they gossip, you'll lose focus. If they grow, you'll stretch. If they believe, you'll start to believe too. So look around. Is your circle pulling you forward or holding you back? And if you don't have that circle yet, create it. Be your own accountability partner. Listen to voices that lift you. Follow people who live with integrity. Build a circle so strong that no negativity survives inside it. Choose connection over clutter. Let's stop calling everyone friend. Let's stop giving second, third, and 10th chances to behavior we know is harmful. Let's stop shrinking just to keep the peace, because the people around you will either fuel your fire or smother it. Call you higher or keep you average. Protect your peace or constantly disturb it. Choose wisely, guard fiercely, love intelligently. You are not obligated to carry people who refuse to walk. You're not here to please, you're here to grow. So protect your inner world by guarding your outer circle. Because when your circle is right, your life flows right. Short-term pleasure, long-term pain. Discipline is destiny. Let me ask you something raw and real. How many times have you traded your future for a few moments of comfort? How many times have you said, just one more scroll, just one more bite, I'll start tomorrow, knowing deep down tomorrow never comes? This is the silent trap of our generation. Short-term pleasure, long-term pain. It's the dopamine hit that destroys dreams. It's the comfort that costs you your calling. It's the instant gratification that delays your greatness. And make no mistake, if you don't master this, now it will master you for the rest of your life. Discipline is not restriction, it's liberation. You see, Most people think discipline is punishment. They think it's boring, rigid, too hard, but let me tell you the truth. Discipline is freedom. Discipline is the power to say, I control my choices, my impulses don't. Discipline is waking up early not because it's easy, but because your purpose matters more than your pillow. Discipline is skipping short-term comfort because you're playing the long game and you're not here to be average. Discipline doesn't take from you, it gives you everything that matters: clarity, confidence, strength, peace, results. Pleasure isn't the enemy. Timing is. There's nothing wrong with pleasure. Joy is beautiful. Rest is necessary. Fun is essential. But when pleasure becomes your priority, pain becomes your future. Scroll instead of study. Pain, party instead of plan. Pain, procrastinate instead of prepare. Pain, indulge today, regret tomorrow. This is how we trade decades for moments. This is how we sell our soul for convenience. And it always, always costs more than it gives. But here's the flip side. When you delay pleasure, when you push through discomfort, that pain becomes your preparation. The soreness from the gym, strength, the early mornings, momentum, the sacrifices, a future you'll thank yourself for. The pain of discipline weighs ounces. The pain of regret weighs tons. Discipline is the bridge between vision and reality. Everyone has dreams, but dreams without discipline, just delusions. You don't rise to the level of your goals, you fall to the level of your systems. And your systems are built on discipline. You don't become a champion when you win the medal, you become one in the dark, when no one's watching. When you choose consistency over comfort, that's where destiny is built. In the boring, the repetitive, the unglamorous. Winners do what's required, not what's convenient. Sacrifice is the entry fee for greatness. Let me be clear. You can't have it all, not at once, not right now. You can't have pleasure or progress. You can have entertainment or elevation. You can have escape or excellence, but you must choose. Every yes to distraction is a no to destiny. So decide now. Do you want ease today and regret tomorrow, or challenge today and freedom tomorrow? Because you can't complain about the results you didn't get from the work you didn't do. How to build unshakable discipline. Here's where you start. Decide what matters most. Not what feels good, what builds the life you want. Do it daily, not when you feel like it. Your emotions are unreliable. Your routine is your anchor. Start small, stay consistent. You don't need to do everything. You just need to do something every single day. Create friction for your weaknesses, flow for your strengths. Make bad habits hard. Make good habits easy. Set your environment up for success. Remember who you're becoming. Your discipline isn't about now. It's about the future version of you who's already waiting, stronger, freer, unstoppable. You want to be great. You want the freedom, the peace, the impact, the legacy. Then stop negotiating with laziness. Stop giving in to fleeting pleasure. Stop choosing easy over excellence, because this life, it doesn't reward wishes. It rewards work. And the one thing that will separate you from the crowd isn't talent. It's not luck. It's not even intelligence. It's discipline. Relentless, unapologetic, locked-in discipline. The life you want is possible, but it's on the other side of what's uncomfortable. So suffer a little now. Sacrifice a little now, because your destiny is worth more than your distractions. Short-term pleasure fades, long-term purpose fulfills, and discipline is your bridge to everything you dream of. Choose it daily, live it fully, and watch how your whole life changes. Live with legacy. Make your one life count. One day, your name will be spoken for the last time. One day, your photo will be the only thing left on a dusty shelf. One day, the people you loved and the life you lived will become a story. Question is, will it be worth telling? You weren't just born to survive. You weren't born to pay bills, check boxes, and coast through the years. You were born to live with legacy, to leave something behind that mattered, to make your one life count. Legacy is not about fame, it's about impact. Let's be clear, legacy isn't about how many followers you have. It's not about your bank balance or job title. It's not about going viral. It's about who you helped, who you healed, and who you gave hope to. Because here's the truth, success dies with you. Legacy lives beyond you. What you build for yourself might fade, what you build for others that echoes. When you live with legacy in mind, every decision changes. You stop chasing applause, you start chasing purpose. You stop asking, what can I get? And you start asking, what can I give? Your time is a gift, don't waste it. You don't get to choose how long you live, but you do get to choose how well you live. There are people in their 20s already dying inside, and there are elders in their 80s still giving, serving, teaching, loving. Legacy isn't about age. It's about urgency. You only get this one shot, this one timeline, this one chance to make your breath mean something. So stop waiting for the right time. There is no perfect time to start living on purpose except now. Make your life a message. You don't need a platform to leave a mark. You don't need permission to make a difference. You just need the courage to show up with meaning every single day. Live in such a way that when people mention your name, they feel inspired. Let your kindness be your monument. Let your integrity be your footprint. Let your love be what they remember. Because here's the truth. Your life is speaking even when you're silent. What you tolerate, what you chase, how you treat people, that is your message. So ask yourself, what story is your life telling right now? Small acts, big legacy. You don't have to build an empire to leave a legacy. Sometimes legacy is in the little things, a kind word at the right time, a moment of courage when others stayed silent, a life lived with honesty when it would have been easier to fake it, the child you raised with love, the friend you forgave, the stranger you helped. Legacy is built one day at a time, one choice at a time, one person at a time. The world doesn't need more noise, it needs more depth. People who show up with heart. People who aren't just here to exist, they're here to elevate. Don't just chase success, chase significance. Success is about what you accomplish. Legacy is about what you contribute. You can succeed without purpose, but you'll still feel empty. You can succeed without love, but you'll feel lonely. But when you live for something bigger than you, you become full, not just famous. You become valuable, not just visible. Legacy is not about leaving something behind. It's about leaving something within. Make your one life count. One day your story will end, but the impact you made, the lives you touched, that will live on. So don't waste your breath on bitterness. Don't waste your years in fear. Don't spend your life building walls, build bridges. Live with vision, live with truth, live with love so loud that when you're gone, people still feel it. Because the graveyard is full of dreams that were never lived, gifts that were never used, and voices that stayed silent. Don't let that be your story. Make your one life count, live with legacy, and leave behind more than just memories. Leave behind meaning. Pulling back isn't rejection, it's self-respect. There's a lie many of us have been taught, that if you care about someone, you must always be available, that love means constant access, that friendship means answering every call, that loyalty means sacrificing your peace. But here's the truth, pulling back is not rejection, it's self-respect. It's not cruelty, it's clarity. At some point in life, you realize that your energy, time, and emotional bandwidth are limited. You start choosing yourself, not because you don't care about others, but because you finally care enough about yourself to stop bleeding for people who only watch you suffer. And that's not rejection. That's healing. Pulling back isn't coldness, it's clarity, let's be honest. People often confuse boundaries with bitterness. The moment you start pulling back, they say you've changed, you're distant, you're cold. But that's not the truth. The truth is, you've simply become clear, clear about who you are, clear about what you want, clear about what you no longer want to tolerate. Pulling back doesn't mean you stopped caring. It means you stopped overextending. You stopped explaining yourself to people who didn't listen. You stopped showing up for people who wouldn't do the same for you. And in that clarity, you found a new kind of peace. One that doesn't require you to be constantly available in order to be worthy. You are not here to be drained. You are not here to prove your loyalty to people who don't even value your presence. You're here to live aligned, and sometimes that means stepping back to see things for what they truly are. The guilt trap, why we stay too long. So many people stay in draining dynamics because of guilt. You feel bad for setting boundaries. You feel like you're abandoning someone. You're worried about how they'll perceive your distance. But here's a question worth asking. Who taught you that choosing yourself is wrong? Self-respect isn't selfish. Boundaries aren't betrayal. In fact, loving someone while honoring yourself is the highest form of emotional maturity. You can love people and still walk away. You can forgive someone and still not let them back in. You can care deeply and still say, I need space. That's not rejection. That's knowing your capacity. And remember this, the people who truly love you, who are healthy, whole, and respectful, won't be threatened by your need for space. They'll understand, they'll support you, because love doesn't demand your exhaustion. It thrives in balance, the freedom of emotional distance. When you pull back, you don't just create space between you and others. You create space for truth, clarity, and healing. You begin to see who actually reaches out when you stop initiating, who respects your silence, who values your presence when it's no longer guaranteed. Distance has a way of revealing what closeness can't. Pulling back allows you to realign with yourself. You hear your own thoughts. You regain your peace. You start to fill your own cup instead of waiting for others to notice it's empty. And the beautiful part, you begin to reconnect with what makes you you. Your creativity, your intuition, your joy. That's the reward of self-respect. You no longer live life constantly reacting to others. You begin living it in rhythm with your own soul. Sometimes the best way to find yourself is to remove yourself from noise, from chaos, from people who no longer fit your path. Who stays when you pull back? That's who matters. One of the most revealing things you can do is pull back and watch who stays connected. Not out of convenience, but out of genuine care. Some people only like you when you're constantly available. They like the version of you that says yes to everything, that gives endlessly, that puts yourself last. But when that version fades, when you start saying no, when you stop over-explaining, when you protect your peace, they disappear. Let them. You're not losing people. You're losing illusions. You're losing dynamics that were never rooted in mutual respect to begin with. The people who stay, they're gold. They won't just love your energy. They'll respect your need to recharge it. They won't just crave your presence. They'll earn it. That's the kind of connection that builds, not burns. So don't be afraid to step back. The real ones will always step forward. Self-respect is a superpower. Pulling back isn't rejection. It's redirection back to yourself. You're not here to be constantly available to people who are emotionally unavailable to you. You're not here to abandon your needs just to keep shallow connections alive. You're here to protect your peace, reclaim your power, and walk in self-respect. The next time someone makes you feel guilty for honoring your limits, remember this: the right people don't punish your boundaries, they protect them. So pull back, recenter, remember who you are, because the more you respect yourself, the more your life will reflect it. The right people don't need you to chase them. We live in a world that often confuses love with chasing, connection with convincing, and loyalty with self-abandonment. But here's a truth that will free your soul. The right people don't need you to chase them. You won't have to beg to be seen, heard, or valued. You won't have to shrink yourself to be chosen. You won't have to constantly prove your worth. The people who are truly meant for you, friends, partners, mentors, will come with alignment, not anxiety, with clarity, not confusion. You won't have to chase what's already aligned with your spirit. You'll just meet them there. Chasing is a sign of misalignment, let's be honest. When you're chasing, you're not grounded, you're not in your power, you're reaching, stretching, pleading, and that's because something feels off. Deep down, your soul knows. Real connection doesn't require a performance. When you chase someone, you're trying to fill a gap. Maybe it's the fear of being alone. Maybe it's the belief that you're not enough. But the truth is, chasing never leads to fulfillment. It leads to exhaustion, because anything you have to force will eventually fall apart. Think about it. Have you ever chased someone who gave you the peace you were looking for? Or did it leave you anxious, overthinking, questioning your worth? That's the cost of misaligned relationships. You trade your self-respect for someone's temporary attention, but the right people, they meet you halfway. They match your energy, they recognize your value, without you having to convince them of it. You are not meant to prove your worth. You are not an audition. You are not a tryout. You are not a maybe. You are a whole human being, worthy of love, respect, and presence without conditions. If someone makes you feel like you're always trying to earn their time, affection, or loyalty, it's time to pause. That's not a relationship. It's a transaction, and you're paying with your peace. The right people don't make you feel like a burden for expressing your needs. They don't disappear when life gets hard. They don't ghost you and expect you to keep the door open. They show up, not because you chase them, but because they see you really see you. You never have to prove your worth to someone who is already aligned with it. And if you do, that's your sign they're not your person. Presence over pursuit chasing creates anxiety. Presence creates connection. When you stop chasing, you start attracting. You shift from desperation to alignment. You stop begging for crumbs and start building your table. And the right people, they'll sit with you there, willingly. You don't have to chase people who are emotionally available. You don't have to over-explain yourself to those who truly want to understand you. You don't have to constantly follow up with people who genuinely care. They'll follow up with you too. This doesn't mean you don't put in effort. Effort is beautiful, but effort should flow both ways. If you're always initiating, always fixing, always overcompensating, you're not in a partnership, you're in a one-sided performance. Let people rise to meet you. Let people choose you without pressure. That's how you know it's real. Stillness reveals truth. Here's the beauty of stopping the chase. You finally see who's real. When you stop texting first, who checks in. When you stop overextending, who shows up. When you create distance, who closes the gap. Stillness is revealing. It exposes what chasing once concealed. Because some people only stay because you're the one doing all the reaching the moment you stop. So do they, and that truth might sting, but it will also set you free. You deserve relationships built on mutual desire, not obligation, on choice, not chasing. You deserve to know what it feels like to be met in the middle, not dragged through the mud of emotional inconsistency. So be still, watch, let people reveal themselves, not by their words, but by their effort. The right ones won't need to be chased. They'll feel like peace, not performance. Be the magnet, not the runner. You don't need to chase what's meant for you. You don't need to beg for the right people to stay. You don't need to exhaust yourself trying to earn love that should be given freely. Be the magnet, not the runner. Stand in your truth and let the energy you carry draw in what is aligned with your soul. Because real connection doesn't require a chase. It simply clicks. And when you stop running after those who don't see you, you make room for those who do, and that changes everything. So breathe, be still. You're already enough. Create distance, watch the truth reveal itself. Sometimes the answers you're searching for don't come through talking, texting, or trying harder. They come through distance. When you step back, emotionally, mentally, physically, you stop interfering with the truth. You stop chasing clarity and start watching what reveals itself without your effort. Because here's the reality. People can say all the right things when you're present, but their real character is revealed in your absence. Create distance, not to hurt, not to punish, but to observe. It's in that space that you see who values you, who notices, who reaches out, and who is only staying close because of your constant effort. Presence can cloud reality. When you're too close to a situation, it's hard to see it clearly. You excuse red flags, justify silence, and rationalize bad behavior because you're invested. You want it to work. You want to believe the best, so you stay present, hoping that your loyalty will spark their change. But sometimes it's your very presence that hides the truth. You're always initiating, so you don't realize they wouldn't reach out otherwise. You're always helping, so you can't tell they wouldn't support you if the roles were reversed. Creating distance gives you perspective. It shows you whether your presence was appreciated or simply convenient. Whether the relationship was mutual, or whether you were the one doing all the emotional lifting. When you take a step back, you don't lose clarity. You gain it. You begin to see the situation not as you hoped it was, but as it truly is. Silence speaks loudly in a world where everyone is constantly connected. Silence can feel uncomfortable, maybe even scary, but silence is powerful. When you stop filling the space with effort, explanations, and emotional labor, you begin to hear what's actually there. Silence reveals intentions. It shows who checks on you when you're no longer available. It shows who valued your voice, and who only listened because it was convenient. You don't have to say anything to send a message. Your distance speaks louder than your words ever could. And if someone vanishes the moment you stop chasing, that's your answer. If they grow cold the moment you stop giving, you've just seen their truth. Distance is not punishment, it's a mirror. It reflects back the authenticity of a relationship. Some people only love your light when it's lighting them up. But when your light dims and they disappear, that's not love, that's exposure. You deserve effort without begging. One of the most painful lessons in life is realizing that someone you showed up for over and over won't even notice when you go silent. But it's also one of the most powerful moments of freedom, because when you stop chasing, you give others the space to show you what you truly mean to them. You learn that real connection doesn't need constant reminders. The people who care, truly care, don't need you to beg for their time, they offer it. They don't need you to explain why you feel hurt, they ask. They don't disappear the moment things aren't convenient. They stay. You're not difficult. You're not too much. You're just asking the wrong people for the bare minimum. And when you create distance, you stop begging and start observing. Let them reveal themselves. Not with their promises, but with their absence, their silence, or their sudden disinterest when they can no longer feed off your presence. Distance isn't disconnection, it's discernment. Creating space doesn't always mean cutting people off. It means stepping back enough to see clearly. It's the difference between reacting and responding, between needing and choosing. Discernment is knowing who to bring closer and who to keep at arm's length. It's recognizing which relationships are rooted in love and which are rooted in control, dependency, or ego. You're allowed to pull back. You're allowed to say, let me see what happens when I stop carrying this. You're allowed to step away to protect your peace, not because you're angry, but because you're wise. Distance gives you the space to discern, not just decide. You observe without interference. You listen to your gut. You feel your worth rising not because someone confirms it, but because you finally stop tying it to their behavior, and in that stillness you rediscover your power. Let the distance speak. It always tells the truth. If you feel confused, conflicted, or drained, don't rush to fix. Step back. Let the distance speak. Let people show you who they are without your constant presence holding everything together. Let relationships breathe or break. Let the silence answer the questions your heart was too afraid to ask. Because the truth always rises in stillness, effort becomes visible, patterns become undeniable, and what's real, what's truly meant for you, will never fade in your absence. So create distance, watch closely, trust what you see, because space doesn't disconnect you from the truth, it delivers it.